Is James Van Der Beek a good actor?
Is that your question for me?
Yeah.
No, he's not.
Okay.
That's real easy.
Okay.
He's funny.
In that movie?
I mean, no, just like as an actor.
I mean, well, he did the Dawson for so long.
Yeah.
And then I was just kind of watching it, and I was like, he's not very good.
No, he's not a very good actor.
But I loved the movie. And, of course, Paul Walker's in it. So then it got me thinking that I need to start my annual Paul Walker marathon.
Yeah. I was going to say, was this your yearly, like, Paul Walker?
I think it's going to be now. And, like, just, I do it so there's no Fast and Furiouses at all.
Yeah.
Like, you got to hit Varsity Blues, Blue Crush. You have to hit Joyride and The Skulls.
Yeah.
And there's like one more. Running Scared.
Running Scared. I was waiting for that one. That's really the one.
That's like the 5.
Wait, Into the Blue?
Yeah, that's what it's called, not
yes.
Blue Crush.
I was like, what is Blue Crush?
I knew it was a blue in there.
Yes.
But yeah, James Van Der Beek hasn't aged well. That movie hasn't aged well. There's a teacher that's a stripper.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then...
There's just some things that are like, you go back and watch movies and you're just like, oh... Yeah.
We should do like an episode of like things in movies that have not aged well.
Yeah. That'll be pretty cool.
Welcome to Almost Agreeable. Almost Agreeable. With your hosts, Chris Nellison and Ed Harris. Hang around and listen to opinions on sports, movies, music, and whatever else pops in our head.
And welcome back to, I don't know, it's been like 10 years, another episode of Almost Agreeable. I was out of town for a little while, so we didn't get to record a few episodes in there. A lot has happened. So welcome back to me. Hello?
I'm still alive. Welcome back to me.
It's been around. So today we're going to get into some sports things. I would say I would rather have done an episode directly after the NFL draft. Missed that.
Yeah.
But we'll talk a little bit about the draft now that it is really complete and we kind of see what's going on, like combined with what's happened in free agency in the NFL. And then maybe we might talk a little baseball, but we're going to start the show today with the NBA playoffs are about to kick off, right?
Yeah.
Haven't started. They start Sunday, I think.
Yeah.
Sunday.
Yeah. Officially, because we're in like the between playoffs.
Yeah, the play-ins.
The play-ins.
The play-ons. The play-ins.
Play-ins.
Play-ins. The play-ins, which have been exciting to this point. It's funny. This episode's going to come out on Friday, and I'm really glad that we kind of pushed because the game last night between the Lakers and the Warriors, I wish I could have watched objectively because it probably was one of the better games I've seen in a long time. This year, 2021, I've seen 2 of the best basketball games I've ever watched. One was the NCAA tournament, UCLA versus Gonzaga.
Okay, yeah.
And then last night was an amazing game between arguably the greatest player of our generation, LeBron James, and probably the greatest shooter of all time in Steph Curry.
No arguments there.
So we will get to that. Let's talk about how the NBA season wrapped up here down the stretch. Just kind of anything you saw that kind of stood out to you.
I just keep it's just funny because I keep hearing these things about the Clippers losing the last couple games just to avoid the Lakers
in the first round.
Because they're just like they don't want to get like little brothered again.
Well, what's funny to me is that like everyone's saying that, and like you talk to any Clipper, you talk to Tyronn Lue who made a comment and says he doesn't give a damn, but like it just really looks bad.
It does.
It just doesn't look, whether it happened intentionally or not. But the thing is like, how would you know, right? So the Clippers finish with the 4th seed.
Yeah.
And they would have needed to finish 2 or 3, and they just didn't do. It just looks really bad.
Yeah. It's just like, why would you not want to? I mean, why would you not want to win any of those games? Isn't that the whole point, right?
Right,
like,
to win.
You're in the playoffs already. You know you're not gonna have to do a play-in, but y'all looking scary.
I think that, and we'll get into the matchups as we get closer to like when we're done talking about the end of the season. But we'll talk about the matchups. But the Clippers, I worry about them and we'll talk a little bit more about that. But anything else besides the Clipper drama, which I love, I eat that up. But I'm also a fan of the game, so I'd like to believe that wasn't an intentional thing.
Yeah.
As a Laker fan, I'm like, yeah, run, bitch.
Yes.
Run.
But I don't know. I was gonna pose that to you as well. You know, who's your favorite team you're able to see kind of, maybe not favorite, but like who are you happy you're able to see kind of slip in and make that last little push?
A couple things here, and I'm going to shift over to the Eastern Conference. I don't think that anybody at the beginning of the season besides 76er fans was going to say that they were going to finish the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference.
Nobody.
No. So
not a single soul.
So hats off. They've been playing, I mean, you bring in Doc Rivers, who's as much as I hate, was the right man for this job with Embiid and Simmons, and Tobias Harris is also just amazing. But to put it together, to trust the process, if you will.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say I was wrong because, you know, both of us were talking about, you get rid of this person, get rid of that person.
Yeah.
They still have both of them, and look now.
And they're doing great. So that I'm very curious to see, obviously, what they can do in the playoffs. You think about their last few playoff appearances. They had the one where Kawhi hit the game winner in Game 7.
Shot their
or not
eyes
Game
out.
7, but it was like Game 6 or something.
Yep, shot their eyes out.
Yep, and then last year they had an early exit. And then this year they had the number 1 seed. All roads lead through Philly. And the Eastern Conference not looking like... Another thing I want to point out about the Eastern Conference is the Brooklyn Nets. Okay, so this team here boasts the likes of KD, James Harden, Kyrie, Blake Griffin's running around out there, whatever.
Thanos.
Yeah, it's just the big three really that I'm looking at, and there hasn't been a flow of those three playing together. One's been hurt, 2 have been hurt, one's been playing. This guy's sitting. Kyrie just decides to take vacations whenever he decides. So my biggest concern for them moving forward in the playoffs is like this is the wrong time to put everything together. The Lakers did it last year, but they had the whole season with LeBron and AD. There was no injuries there. They had the whole season. This is different.
Yeah, I was going to say maybe because they haven't been all together, that's why it's been working. Because they haven't had to compete for these different, they are all egos. They are.
Yep.
So they haven't had to divvy up any time or points or stats because they have each been not playing at these different points. So that could be a thing of why it has been working. I mean, they're the number 2 seed. Clearly it's working. But we'll see what they do like in these playoffs.
And I saw a quote James Harden had put out, I think this week, that was talking about how he's not chasing stats. Like he's just all about winning. And my thing is like, yeah, okay. Like, where was that mentality the rest of your career?
Where was that mentality in Houston when you had some real chances?
And you had players on your team like Chris Paul and Russell Westbrook and Dwight Howard at one point. Like, you had the tangibles to do it, but you were chasing stats. What's changed now? I think that if Brooklyn does end up winning the title, which I don't think they will, I'll say that now, before the playoffs start, I don't think they will, but if they were to, it's going to tarnish reputations. KD's is already fucked up. So just throw that, fucked up some more. James Harden had to go be with KD and Kyrie to win. Kyrie already is just like a fucking enigma, right? No one knows what the fuck a Kyrie Irving is.
Yeah, he's a flat earther.
I mean, that says, okay, so yes, that. I was going to try to leave that out of it, but yes, that makes me question his I don't know, sanity.
He's just a dude who thought he wanted to be the dude and then became the dude and was like, I'm not the dude.
Yeah. I mean, you saw how quickly he apologized to LeBron.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Kyrie, undeniably a very skilled player. But, like I said, an enigma. Big time.
Yeah.
KD, I want to stay away from slandering him just because, like, I do that enough, like, in my own inner circles of friends. Like, I don't want to put it out into the world, like, what I truly think of him. But, like, just to put it lightly, I'll just say, the dude's a snake. I have no respect for him. Is he a talent? Absolutely. Is he one of the greatest scorers of my generation? Probably. But I don't respect him.
He's not quite an enigma. He wants rings. It's easy. He wants to go the best place where he can to get a ring.
And in his defense, years from now, you're going to look back and be like, how many rings? That's always the question.
Yeah.
How many rings does this dude have? after so many years, you don't ask how they got those rings. But I don't know, with this generation, with the internet, with Twitter, with all the things that we have, that's not going away. That he joined a 73-9 team and won 2 titles.
Yeah.
It's not going away that if he wins with Brooklyn, that he had to recruit James Harden and went to a team that already had Kyrie Irving. And then went for the Infinity Gauntlet trying to get Blake Griffin and LaMarcus Aldridge, who retired. And respect for him, he knew he punched out. Respect for LaMarcus Aldridge. But let's move away from from Brooklyn, because I'm just getting irritated.
Well, yeah, that's kind of what it's heading towards, and that's what we've talked about before, that the last 10 years have kind of been let's grab a team, let's grab the boys, and make a run. And granted, 8 of it was LeBron LeBron being in the finals.
Yeah.
4 straight of that was LeBron against the Warriors.
Right.
So that's a weird... That skews the context of what the last 10 years is a little bit, because the Warriors became a super team. LeBron went to and created a super team.
He created the concept of a super team.
Exactly.
But you could easily argue, I'm going to throw this in there, the Celtics created a super team in 2008.
I'm just saying he created a super team. He didn't create super teams, but he created a super team, and so since then, it has basically only been super teams, except for the Raptors.
Well, and the Cavs in 2018. No Kyrie. Kevin Love hurt. LeBron dragged that bum-ass Cavs team to the finals. Almost won game 1, but JR does some dumb shit. But, people can't...
Don't you dare tell me JR is not part of a super team.
Listen, stop it. I don't want anyone to forget what LeBron did in 2018, okay? That shit was... ridiculous. It was like what he did in 2007 when he took that Cavs team to the finals and they got swept by the Spurs.
No business being there.
No, not at all. Not with that roster. But and then I'm talking about LeBron. So let's talk about the Lakers, because as low of a seed that they clinched last night in the play-in game, they're not looking good. And the seeding obviously reflects injuries that happened during the regular season. But haters are not going to accept that, and that's fine. But I have a weird stat here for you. As we're talking about this, I'll throw this in, is that this is the first time in 30 years that the 7th seed has been favored over the 2nd seed. And this is because...
Let's see, that was 91 then? 91 in the West?
God, why is 91 30 years ago? I'm thinking it was 1970. 2021. Yeah, 91. I mean, I'm trying to think that was back in a more competitive NBA. You know what I mean? Jordan was there.
Yeah.
They were the 1 seed probably all those years. But I'm thinking off the top of my head.
The Jazz around that time?
No, Jazz weren't until the mid-90s. Western Conference... I'm
just saying they could have been the 2 seed at that time.
I would say not even then. In the 91, the Lakers were probably the 1 seed because they went to the finals and MJ beat them.
Yeah.
So the 2nd seed, Blazers maybe, something like that.
Yeah. But still, long time because,
well now I want to look that up.
But that just never happens. It never happens that, you're a 2 seed for a reason, you're a 7 seed for a reason. But because of this season, the scoring differentials and the actual records of seeds 1 through 8 are relatively close. They're closer than normal.
Yeah, and then, you got to account for, this favored, position that odds makers are taking really has to do with the fact that, the Lakers are pretty much back at full strength now, with AD and LeBron. But you got to think, the first half of the play-in game last night, God, they looked atrocious. They didn't look great in the second half either. They really have to pick it up. I think they can beat the Suns, but it's... After that, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. They have to put it together.
Yeah. So that game was outrageous. Of course, we have to bring up that shot.
Okay, so let's get to the game in just a second. Let's talk about the other play-in games that transpired before that, right? So we had Washington and Boston playing for... Well, I hope everyone listening is familiar with the play-in, right?
Because it's fucking nuts.
It is weird. So, you take pretty much 7 through 10, 4 teams. Okay, the 7th seed will play the 8th seed for the 7th seed. If they win, they get the 7th seed. If they lose, that team must play the winner of the 9 versus 10 seed, and then whoever wins that game gets the final playoff spot. So replay that like 6 more times and you'll get it.
Yeah, so the 7 and 8 seed get 2 chances to win a game to make it in the playoffs. And then the 8 or the 9 and the 10 seed they have to win 2 games to make it in.
Right. And I like that. We'll get to that. You have a hot route about that later?
I could.
Okay, well then I won't touch it. So it's like you had Washington get beat by the Celtics, so they take that 7th seed. And then Washington must now play Indiana for the 8th seed. Indiana had beaten, Charlotte.
Yeah.
So,
but, Boston balled out. Tatum balled out that game.
Ridiculous.
Scary.
Ridiculous. I kept getting updates of how many points he had through like 1 quarter, through 2 quarters, through 3 quarters for the game. And I was like, dude showed out. Dude really wanted to play the Nets.
Yeah. Yeah. Yikes.
I mean, does anyone want to see either of those 2 teams in the first round? I mean, you look at the Western Conference, it's like the Jazz are the 1, Suns are the 2. As a Laker fan last night, I was like, I think we can beat either of those teams, so I wasn't worried. In the Eastern Conference, I'm like, I don't want to play the Nets, I don't want to play the Sixers. It's like it's a lose-lose. Should have done better.
Just overall.
Should have done better.
Should have not gotten to this point at all.
And then the game last night, the first game was San Antonio and Memphis. Kind of a separated game for most of it. I feel like Memphis jumped out to a lead and San Antonio was kind of just hanging around, made it back in the 4th quarter, and then it got away from them.
It was close. Like, they were hanging around, and that's what you're always scared of. They're just hanging around. It seemed like Memphis was dominating more. Like, easily. Just watching the game, I was like, okay, Memphis is just winning this game. They look better in this game. But San Antonio was just hanging around. And that's what scares you as a fan of that team. Is just like, okay, they could just pull ahead. But they got it close and weren't able to close it out.
No, it was kind of sad because it's like, I have a lot of respect for Greg Popovich and
Gregory.
Ending the show early.
Gregory.
I think that's the one I hate the most. I think I hate that the most. Anyways, sad. I feel bad for Gregory Popovich. So there's that. But then that takes us to the second game of the play-in that was shown last night. Lakers-Warriors. So lived up to the hype.
Yeah, I mean, that was the whole thing. It was just like, oh, we've seen this so many times before. LeBron versus the Warriors.
Right. And I know going into the game, I was very nervous because Steph Curry terrifies me. Every time he touched the ball last night, I had like my heart skipped a beat. The dude can hit it from anywhere on the floor. What he's done this season alone has been amazing. And I really do feel like he should be MVP. He's probably not going to get it. I can make a case for Jokic getting that.
A lot of that, and that's what's crazy about this year. There are a lot of cases to be made.
LeBron was having an MVP season before he got hurt.
Yeah. But absolutely, that game lived up to the hype, like you said. And the Lakers were struggling. They were struggling, like, tough.
Well, I think the big three, as they'll say, which is just the top scorers, Schroeder, LeBron, AD, I think we're a combined, like, 2 for 22 in the first half or something like that. It was really bad. The crazy thing to me is, the Lakers, which I love this stat, are the number 1 defensive team during the regular season. So, like, I remember that Mike Breen just kept saying during the telecast, like, Lakers are fucking 0 for 93, but they're only down 6. They're only down 7. They're only down, 5. And it was like our defense was keeping us in the game. And it wasn't even the defense from, like, people you'd expect. Like, Caruso showed out. They brought Wes Matthews in the second half. He showed out. Kuzma came in, showed out. And, KCP was hitting shots. But the defense was the biggest thing. And then you talk about Draymond Green, who put on a clinic on how to defend Anthony Davis last night. I mean, he was making him look silly.
Yeah. It was pretty shut down.
Yeah. I mean, until the fourth quarter, he started to get the things going. But, I mean, at that point, Draymond had 4 or 5 fouls. He had to play, pretty tight.
Safe.
Yeah, safe.
A lot more
the biggest change came when Vogel took Drummond out of the game, which cleared out a lot more space for LeBron to isolate, drive to the hole, for AD to catch lobs.
Just make moves.
Yeah, I mean, I love height advantage, but like the NBA is so different now where it's like, no, they don't have to match your height. You need to match their small ball.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of how the league is right
different,
now.
yeah.
And that did wonders last night. I mean, Montrez didn't play in the second half. Drummond started, but we never saw him again after that. Gasol didn't see a minute of playing time, which I have words on that for a later date. But just a wild game. You talk about the last 3 minutes where no team could get an edge. You know, it was like Lakers by 2, Warriors by 1, Lakers by 3, Warriors by 1, Warriors by 3.
The momentum was swinging both ways.
It was wild, and Curry was doing Curry things. Like every time he got the ball, I was just like, tackle him.
Yeah,
tackle him.
Just get him, whatever.
Tackle him,
whatever.
Wrap him up.
And it just all culminates in that shot, that play. Everything leading up to that, like that shot clock was running all the way down.
It was buns.
All the way down.
KCP almost lost it twice.
Yep.
And then he just throws it out. Sees LeBron,
chucks it out there.
Out there. 34 feet out there.
And then LeBron takes this ridiculous shot. Like who else takes that shot? Steph. That's the only other person who takes that shot.
You know who closed out on him?
And makes it. Yeah, Steph was right there.
You know what's funny? You watch the slow motion replay of that. Like Steph's running out and he's like talking shit.
Yes.
And then as soon as it goes in, he gives LeBron that look that multiple players have given Steph for making that same 3.
Yep.
And that just kind of, I mean, people are going to forget because that was pretty much the end of the game. You think about what happened after, no one's going to remember that the Warriors came back down and had an open 3. And it wasn't Steph, but it was an open 3.
Yeah.
Missed.
Yep.
Lakers come down, miss a chance to really put the game away, and then the inbounds get stolen. So that's overshadowed by the shot, but just a couple things there was like, the Warriors are a gritty team.
Oh, yeah.
But it's like, you know, those other guys, those role players, they weren't ready for that pressure at the very, very end. They were playing great in the fourth, but really when it came down to it, couldn't hit an open 3. Draymond didn't hit a fucking field goal the whole game. All right? He played great stifling defense. He was rebounding like a champ, and he was throwing out assists, but he didn't hit a field goal. His points came from the free throw line. So Wiggins showed out, which he kind of has to. No Clay. If Dre's not making field goals, it's like, that's a gritty team. Do I want to see them in the playoffs? Like, as just a fan of the sport? Absolutely. I hope they win against Memphis because I want to see at least 4 more games of Steph Curry doing Steph Curry shit.
I was sure before the game that the Warriors were going to win. In one game, I'm going to take Steph's outrageous shooting over LeBron's game management.
Well, that's the scariest part, right? Is that it was one game. So, like, Steph could just have that fucking a game. Like he did. He had 37 points last night.
Yeah.
Like, he could have and that was my biggest thing. It was like, this isn't a series. Like, in a series, we can make adjustments. One game, Steph can go off. I mean, we're lucky he didn't go off for 50 or 45.
Like what he's been doing.
Yeah, so, I mean...
The last thing I have on that shot is earlier you saw the foul against LeBron.
His arms were straight up.
Yeah, his arms were straight up and not forward, and he didn't try to grab his eye out of his socket.
Right, that.
But LeBron, like, straight up, I've seen LeBron milk a lot of things. He got, like, poked in the eye there.
Yeah.
Like, that sucks.
Getting poked in the eye.
That sucks. But I don't know if you saw, after he took that shot and drained it, he looked at Steph and said, I can't see.
I did see it. I fucking love that. Did you hear what he said after the game? He said, I was looking at 3 rims. I just aimed for the middle one. So
That's some Jordan shit. That's some Kobe shit.
Just to straight up look at him and be like, can't see.
Yep.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, I told Linz, because Linz was like in the kitchen hiding, even though I was very calm in the second half. He hit that shot, and I was like, Linz, that was the most Kobe-esque thing LeBron's ever done. Is just hit that and then look at Steph and say some shit.
Yep.
I love that. So, yeah, I mean, so 1 through 7 are sealed in both conferences. All we have left is to see what happens with Warriors, Grizzlies, and Indiana and Washington. So, with that being said, I feel like the more exciting matchup would be Jazz-Warriors.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I love watching Steph play.
I love watching Steph play, and I don't know if Memphis has... I mean, of course, you're not expecting a lot out of the 8 seed anyway.
No, but like in the Western Conference, that's really never been the case for like the last 30 years. Like the 1 through 8 has always been competitive. It's always going at least 6 games, 5 games, 6 games. And so I get with Steve Kerr, who I love, and Steph, and if Dre plays defense like that, like you match him up with Gobert, you match up Steph with Donovan Mitchell, like that's going to be an exciting fucking first round. And not to mention Lakers, playing the Suns, that's going to be fun as fuck too, because there's a lot of demons there for the Lakers. Now, none of the current Lakers, got beat by the Suns in their like 2000s.
Yeah.
But it's, for me as a fan, I'm like, yeah, fuck these fools up. Love Chris Paul. Love, Jesus, why am I blanking?
Devin Booker?
Yeah, Devin Booker. Love Devin Booker, but they got to go, son. Like, sorry, Chris Paul.
That was like 15 years ago.
Yeah. That was right in my, like, adolescence of, like, loving basketball so much, and that's all that mattered. And the Suns just kept dicking us.
That'd be like if I still hated the Steelers.
You should still hate the Steelers.
Beating the Seahawks in that Super Bowl.
You should.
Spoiler alert, I still have fucking friends who hate the Steelers.
I hate the Steelers.
Oh my.
I hate the Buccaneers. That was 2003. They beat us in the Super Bowl. Do I hate them still? Absolutely. I'll always hate them.
Always hate them, alright.
Yeah,
fair
okay.
enough. That's on me for letting go. That's on me.
Yeah, don't let go. Never forget.
Yes.
Like, that's a thing.
So, I mean, we've really talked pretty much zero about the 3 seed 6 seed game and 4 and 5 seed games from either side.
Yeah. I mean, I don't see Miami making a splash. Milwaukee's got me confused. Atlanta is not going to probably do anything. When it comes to the Eastern Conference in general, it's like every year, it's like you got 2, maybe 3 teams that you could see going. And for this year, it's just 2.
The 1 and the 2 seed?
What I do love is that the Knicks make the playoffs. I love that. Fucking love that. It's good for the NBA. It's like, and I am happy for Julius Randle, former Laker. We drafted him. Happy for him. But seeing the Knicks in the playoffs, that's tight. Spike Lee, let's go.
Yeah. It's like seeing the Cubs do well. It just feels good.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I guess the Cubs. I mean, if you were gonna bring
the Cubbies,
if you were gonna bring something else into it, like, yeah, I'd like to see the Jets do good. Fuck the Jets.
No, it's not like seeing the Jets. Nobody's actually a Jets fan. Like, I know we're good friends with a guy who's a Jets fan, but like, it's not real.
It's all it is self-deprecating, like, torture.
Yeah.
Like, to be a Jets fan. Like, every time we see him, he never has anything good to say about his own team.
Yeah.
And he laughs.
His dad raised him as a Jets fan and a Yankees fan, and every time he's like, I could have raised you as a Jets and Mets fan.
Yeah,
could have been the little brothers. Could have been the little brothers of every league.
Every league. But yeah, as far as the Eastern Conference goes, it really is Philly, Brooklyn. I mean, that's for me. Now the Western Conference, different story. Clippers, Jazz, Suns, Lakers, Warriors are a wild card. Denver's lost Jamal Murray, so like they're not as scary to me anymore.
Yeah.
Portland's terrifying with Damian Lillard all the time.
I was gonna say, how do you feel about Dallas? Like,
that's where I was going to say Dallas for last, because this matchup for them in the first round is against the Clippers, and they played last year in the bubble in the playoffs. So that's going to be a fun series because I love Doncic.
Yeah.
I love Luka.
Yeah, God, what is he, like 22, 23?
It's absurd how young he is and what he's doing.
Insane.
Absurd. And I don't...
And we're going to still be able to say that for the next, like, 3 years.
Yeah. And not until he's like 27 am I going to be like, oh, yeah, he's in his prime.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't think they can beat the Clippers. I think it's going to be a repeat of last year. Like,
really?
The Clippers are better... I'm not going to say better coached, but like the coach is better suited for this squad than Doc Rivers was. So Tyronn Lue fits this team better. Paul George, I'm hoping for a pandemic P performance. So like, cause like I really have nothing against Paul George. He's a good person. Like, he's from Palmdale. Like, I was born in Palmdale, so like roots, like shout out, whatever. But like, you can't give yourself nicknames and then suck. And you can't get beat by, in a 7-game series by the fucking Nuggets in the playoffs when you've been boasting how you're going to win a title all year. I haven't forgiven that yet. And I want to see you keep losing because you did that. Kawhi, bored man. I'm not excited about Kawhi. Like, there's never a time when I'm like, oh, I can't wait to see Kawhi play because he's just boring as fuck. He's just so mechanical. He's like a robot.
He's an android, all right?
Yeah, and I don't like it. I don't like it. The Clippers...
The claw.
The Clippers are probably one of the best teams in the NBA right now, but to me, they're the least exciting team to watch.
I mean, that's like how the Spurs were.
Yes,
that's how they got all of those titles.
The same thing.
Big fundamentals.
It's the same thing. Because Tim Duncan is like the OG Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah.
As far as it comes to like demeanor and personality.
And
Tim
talent.
Duncan, yeah, and talent. So I don't think Dallas can beat them, but I think they just need like a couple more pieces. KP's always hurt. Kristaps.
Yeah.
It's always hurt. I think you got to get rid of him. Bring in someone else to complement Luka.
But when he's in, he's just great.
You really have to sit here and weigh. Like, do I want this guy who, when he plays, is great, but when he plays is not very often? Or do you want like a guy to come in and play the tough minutes all season in the playoffs? Might not be as good as Kristaps, but he's fucking available. I want that.
I feel like that's what you supplement around those two.
But no, 1.5. Around those 1.5.
Around the 1.5.
Okay, because Kristaps never fucking plays. Like it's frustrating. It's like how I feel about AD sometimes. He's brittle.
He's brittle.
So like every time he falls down, I'm like, is he out for 90 games? What the fuck? And I have to like stand up and like hold my breath every time he like takes a spill.
Big boy.
Yeah. So I don't know. Don't think that can happen. And then Denver Portland's going to be a fun series. I feel like any series with Damian Lillard in is a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's just electric.
Yeah.
That guy is insane. How long he's been in the league? He's for a decent amount of time now.
Yeah, he's been in for a minute. I mean, he played with LaMarcus Aldridge when he was good still.
Yeah.
So he's been in for a minute, but he's still playing like he's a child. Just energy, raw talent.
He looks and he plays and looks like just he has the swagger of like a player who's been in for like 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, that's what it feels like every time you watch him. And then I really, really, really want a Golden State Utah round 1. Like I want that series.
That's not out of the realm of. I mean, it's favored to happen.
Right, and I'm so as we were recording this, like that game is going to be played the day we release this episode. So like let's just make some predictions right now. I think Golden State's going to win.
Well, yeah. Oh.
Hot take.
Crazy.
Hot take. Golden State's going to win.
What's the score?
122-97.
Jeez.
Yeah.
It's just a full like murder.
Dude, Steph's going off for 60.
Oh my god. We have some takes here. Okay.
All right.
Steph going off for 60. 122-97.
Yeah, it's a 25-point game. Send your hate mail to edharris@gmail.com.
Perfect. That's me.
All right. Anything NBA related you want to talk about before we leave that topic?
Before we leave that topic, only kind of like a intermediate hot route. Who's taking the finals?
I think it's too soon to say that.
Exactly. Who's taking them?
The finals?
Yeah.
Like, the finals? I can't just say who's going to be there.
Nope. All right, who's going to be there?
I'm not going to answer who's going to win, though.
Okay, who's going to be there? See, you weren't ready for that.
I'm not ready for any of this. I don't want to answer it because, like...
I'll make it my hot route if you don't answer it now.
Fuck off. Let's see. I feel like this could be Philly's year to get to the finals.
Yeah? Okay.
Could be Philly's year.
Philly from the
Because
East.
I don't know about Brooklyn. I'm not sold.
Mm-hmm.
So, Philly. And then from the Western Conference, I really don't see it being a team not from LA.
Okay.
So that's 2 teams.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it.
You don't see... I mean, I know you're talking about Dallas, so that's what you expect, and I know you're talking about Denver, less scared of them because they don't have Murray anymore, but just no love for Jazz.
No love for the Jazz.
No.
No. I mean, the Jazz have a great thing going, but like when it comes to playoffs, like you need stars. Like you need star power. You need, superstars. You need a LeBron. You need a Kawhi. You need a Steph. You need a fucking Embiid. You need a KD.
You need a name.
All they have is Donovan Mitchell, who is a superstar, and then you can maybe try to lump Rudy Gobert in there, but like, I ain't scared of Rudy Gobert. Like, yeah, he's a defensive.
His name's Rudy.
His name's Rudy. He's got like a soft T in his last name.
Yeah.
It's Rudy Gobert.
Gobert.
I'm not scared of him. Like, I don't hear the name Rudy Gobert and like, I hear Steph Curry and I'm like, oh, fuck. I hear KD and I'm like, fucking snake assassin.
He'll get you.
Right? I hear those names and I hear Donovan Mitchell and the spider. Yeah, I get fucking the spider. I get intimidated.
Yeah, I get that.
I don't feel it with Rudy Gobert. And like, that's what playoffs are about. Experience and superstardom. And with the experience that the Jazz have, it's lacking. I don't think they've been to a Western Conference Finals since like the days of Malone and Stockton.
Yeah, back in the 90s that we were talking about. Yeah.
So, yeah, no love for the Jazz.
Okay, fair enough.
You any cases you want to make?
No, I'm glad I got to ask that question because I'm that lost too. I don't want to answer that question.
This field is very hard to negotiate. The season has been weird.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just a lot of things that don't happen like at face value that you're not thinking about. You're not thinking about the quick turnaround. You're not thinking about injuries. You're not thinking about chemistry. All you see is the seeding now, like into the playoffs. That's all we see.
Yeah.
And we see the names, but we don't see the things I was just talking about. And like,
if you're just looking at this, you're not getting the context of everything.
And that's fine because that's how most fans are. Like most general fans are that way, and that's okay.
Oh yeah.
Like I enjoy looking into this shit and seeing like why this team isn't performing well. Oh, this dude fucked that dude's wife, so like the locker room's divided. I like looking into that shit and seeing why teams are playing the way they're playing. Fucking Philly's playing the way they're playing because Doc Rivers comes in and creates like an environment where like everyone's being held accountable and everyone's taking accountability for themselves. And it's a very like, I would say peaceful compared to the past locker room dynamic. That's the kind of thing that Doc Rivers brings into a team. You look at that 2008 Boston Celtic team with KG, Paul Pierce, the truth, and Ray Allen. Maybe like the most, like the first in recent memory of like super teams. You've always had Kobe and Shaq. You've had Duncan and David Robinson, and then Duncan and Tony Parker. But like big three, that was the first time in recent memory that I can think of in my lifetime that was a thing. And Doc Rivers was able to mesh those egos and personalities, and he's done that here in Philly.
Yeah. I totally vibe with that, and I think it's nice to see Philly going this far.
Yeah,
like because I was absolutely positive, like, okay, you got to make some wholesale changes around here. You got to choose one and kind of build around that. And he was able to make it work.
Yeah.
Able to make it look really good.
I remember because we got some hate for those takes from a Philly fan I know. He was like, you don't do either of those things. Because we both took opposite sides on that. Right? I said you get rid of Simmons and build around Embiid, and you said get rid of Embiid and build around Simmons. So how wrong are we? And that's fine. That's the beauty of being a human being, is that like you're wrong a lot.
Yeah. So last thing that you just brought up, Ray Allen. So I kind of have, it's not a weird status, just a ridiculous.
This is a Steph Curry stat.
Yeah, this is Steph Curry.
Okay.
Of course, if it's then Ray Allen, then it's about threes.
Because like we're past the point of Reggie Miller now. Like we're already past that.
Yeah, we're past that.
Okay.
So Steph Curry is 142 threes behind Ray Allen. He has played 600 less games.
Ridiculous. He's probably going to do that in this postseason if they get to like the second round.
Excuse me, he plays 550 less games.
Oh, that's... sorry.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm glad you pointed that out because you would have been giving false information.
Yes, and I don't want to lie to anybody, but he's absolutely, if he hits another 168 threes, he'll be past 3,000 threes, who nobody has done.
It's not an understatement to say that those mid-2010s Warriors changed the NBA forever.
Yeah.
And Steph is at the front of that movement. And, like, what he's done with that stat you just threw out, like, that's ridiculous. And just the way he plays. Like, he hit a couple threes last night that I don't know that anybody else in the NBA ever can hit with consistency the way that he does. Nobody.
Ridiculous, the things that he does.
Probably witnessing the greatest shooter to ever play the game, not just in our lifetime, but, like, ever to play the game.
He's the greatest shooter of all time.
Yeah.
He just is.
Yeah. All right. Well, we didn't leave a whole lot of time to talk about anything else. I know we said we were going to get to the NBA or the NFL draft.
All right, the NBA draft.
No, the NFL draft.
Oh, shit. The NFL draft.
The NFL draft.
All right, the NFL draft.
Who won the draft?
Who won the draft?
Yeah.
Oh.
Easier question. Who lost the draft?
Who lost the draft? Oh, God.
Is that an easier question?
It's absolutely not.
The draft is so hard to read.
Exactly. I mean, because you have all of these people, you all want them to perform well, naturally. They've worked their entire life to get to this point. Now they're drafted by a team, and they want to go make something out of themselves. They want to be a star. They want to be the best player. They want to get their teams to a Super Bowl. They want to win it all. And sometimes that just ain't how it happens. So, especially with quarterbacks.
So Trevor Lawrence. All I hear is how he's a generational talent, and, like, I don't know how you can make those claims. Like, the draft is so hard.
I mean, I guess you can make those claims because he's never lost a game.
Well, he's about to lose a bunch of games.
Since high school, he's never lost a game.
Yeah, that's the problem with being good. When you get drafted, you better get used to not being good, because you're literally getting drafted by the worst team in that league. And so, like, I think my favorite part of, like, seeing these generational players get drafted is seeing how they adjust to a losing culture, a losing games. Especially a guy that hasn't lost a game since high school. I want to see, and I wish I could be, like, in his head to see how mentally tough he actually is. Because this is where you find out how mentally tough you are. You're a grown man now. This isn't college. You're not playing, scrubs every week. I mean, you're playing scrub teams by NFL standards, but, like, NFL, this is professional fucking athletes.
The game's a lot faster.
Yep.
The game is a lot faster.
Right.
So we'll see how it turns out. I am excited for him, honestly. I really am. I think he will be pretty good. But what is the last quarterback that we saw that was drafted very early on that just
took off?
Works. Because that's hard. That's one of the hardest things to do.
Russell Wilson comes to mind.
Yeah.
Did Big Ben start immediately?
I'm pretty sure because he's the youngest quarterback to win a Super Bowl.
Okay, so yeah, Big Ben. And this is going to suck because I'm going to be talking about things from my generation. Like, I can't go back super far.
No, I mean, I straight up mean, like, in the last 5 years, 10 years even.
Baker, maybe?
I think that he would have been in the conversation had he not had Freddie Kitchens.
That's a good point.
I do think he is a good bordering on great quarterback.
Yep.
Not elite, not even close to that, but good bordering on great quarterback that could have had such better growth if Freddie Kitchens didn't have that
that dude was a fucking
year.
Mess. Freddie Kitchens' year was a mess. So yeah, Baker, Russell, Big Ben. Peyton wasn't very successful in his first few seasons.
No, he threw the most. He threw like 28 picks.
Yeah. He was just...
Wasn't good.
He was giving the ball to everybody.
Yeah. So it is hard. It is one of the hardest things to be a rookie and come out and perform. And not only perform, because Joe Burrow was performing. He just wasn't winning.
And he got hurt.
And then he got hurt.
And, I was going to bring him up, but, like, that's just so sad to me, too. Like, it's like you're going to draft... Like, it's like, I hope Jacksonville, like, is going to do something about their O-line. Like...
Yeah. So we shall see with that. But I'm excited for him to start... I can't wait to see what that looks like on Jags. Can't wait to see what that looks like.
Speaking of the draft, like, super cold of Aaron Rodgers to go ahead and just, like, drop news on the night of the draft that he doesn't want to play for the Packers anymore.
That he's good? He's like, no, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good. You guys, no, I'm just going to go.
And then they didn't even draft a quarterback. I mean, they drafted that quarterback last year.
Yeah, they got Jordan Love, so they're kind of... What do you think Aaron Rodgers has told Jordan Love? Anything? He's probably told him, like, fuck off.
I hate that could be a thing. Like, I hate to think that this guy gets drafted to, replace you one day. That's just the reality of the fucking business. Grow up, Aaron. I'd hate to think that he would sit there and be hateful to the player as opposed to just having hate for the organization. It'd be one thing if, like, he's doing what he's doing now, whatever. That's against the organization. But if I was, like, to confirm, someone confirmed to me that he treated Jordan Love like shit, I'd be like, I mean, I already think Aaron Rodgers is a piece of shit, but if I heard that, then, like, go to hell, motherfucker. Like,
Isn't this could be just one of those things like, oh, this is quote unquote how I was raised. That's what Favre did to Rodgers.
Yeah, and Favre's an asshole.
And that's what Favre did to Rodgers. Brady's done that to fucking everybody for the last 20 years.
And Brady is an asshole.
So, I mean, is it unsurprising from these Super Bowl winning quarterbacks that they're just like, no, fuck you?
Is it surprising? No. But, like, I don't know. I was raised with fucking humility. So it's like when someone's...
And that's why we'll never be Super Bowl winning quarterbacks. That's the
only reason why.
That's it.
It's not my height. It's not my weight.
No,
it's not my accuracy.
No.
It's the fact that I have humility.
Yes.
Okay, fair enough.
That's it.
Good.
Russell Wilson is an outlier.
Yeah, fucking wonder kid, dude. Oh, we are running out of time. So, like, I didn't even get to talk about the draft as much as I wanted to, but I guess the biggest takeaway, we hit it at the top of the topic. Like, we don't know shit. It's like everything before the draft with the Mel Kiper and those analysts saying this, and that.
It gets hyped up every fucking time.
Yeah. And then, like, for a lot of these players, nothing happens.
Yep.
And so we just have to wait. I do want to come back to the NFL next time we get together. Obviously, we will before the season starts and talk about each team like we did last season going into the new season because there's a lot of changes went around in the NFL. We throw the draft in here and the free agency and the trades that were all happening the last couple months. And I do want to discuss that on a team-by-team, basis, like, in depth. So we'll start that series of sports, and we'll throw in NBA playoffs as they continue.
Oh, yeah.
So let's be doing that. Look out for that. And then you wanted to say some words on baseball.
Baseball. It still exists. It still is a thing. You were talking about Mike Trout.
Yeah, he's hurt.
But Angels pitcher and DH, Shohei Ohtani, ridiculous.
Yeah.
Because he is a pitcher who has the same ERA as multiple Cy Young winner, Max Scherzer, and then he's leading the MLB in home runs.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So that's I think that should just be our thing from now on. Just like, hey, baseball stat for the next 20 seconds.
I like that.
And we're good.
We'll have like a baseball stat of the day.
Yeah, baseball stat of the day.
Okay,
I like that.
I like that. Cool. I think it's time for a hot route.
Time for everybody's favorite segment.
Hot route.
Hot route.
Blue 17! Blue 17!
What is hot route?
Hot route! Red 7, red 7, red 7! Hot route!
That's what we call a sacked lunch. Nom, 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 nom.
So, going back to basketball, kind of answered this with the number 1 seed in the West, but the number 2 seed. Why do the Suns get no love?
I think it's because it goes back to what I said earlier. It's like Chris Paul past his prime, but can't understate what he's done to every franchise he's been to, like what he did with Oklahoma City last year, what he did with Phoenix this year. Like, Phoenix didn't make the playoffs last year. They played in the play-in and didn't make it. And you throw Chris Paul in there with his leadership and just his fucking mentoring skills, and now they're the 2nd seed. They don't get love because it's more of a, like, what have you done for me lately?
Okay.
And it's like, y'all
got the 2 seed.
Y'all
That's
got
what
the
they
2
did
seed,
lately.
cool, but, like, we'll see. When's the last time these guys, the deepest run they made in the playoffs ever, besides going to the finals with Barkley, was in 2010. They went to the Western Conference Finals against the Lakers, and that was with Steve Nash, Mari Stoudemire.
That was the MVP year?
Those guys.
That was the year after?
His MVP years were 06 and 07.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, the Suns are a small market team, not ever, like, doing great. So, yeah, that's why the respect isn't there. Like, I mean, you got to look at it. There's an NBA hierarchy that happens every decade. Okay, the Suns, in every decade, have never been in the hierarchy.
Okay.
It's always Lakers, Celtics, Knicks when they were good, like, 76ers, Bulls in the 90s, Jazz in the 90s, like hierarchy. So, and they've never been in there.
They gotta forge their own path.
They need to win a fucking title.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's not happening this season. Sorry, Chris.
Bet your car.
What cars do I have right now? I will bet you a car. I'm just not sure which one yet.
Okay, I'll bet you a McDouble.
No. You have to bet a car.
No. I'll bet you a McDouble.
Okay, so I'm betting. So
look, it's for you. It's like low risk. Wait, no. For me, it's low risk, high reward. For you, it's high risk, low reward.
Yeah.
That's
so,
okay.
So no, it's not. Let's just do
okay.
this. If the Suns win a title, I'll buy you a McDouble.
Okay.
If they don't, if they get eliminated, you have to buy me a Whopper.
Okay.
An Impossible Whopper.
Perfect. Let's get sued by McDonald's and Burger King.
Are we going to get sued because we're talking about their burger? I feel like this is free advertisement.
What if I say it's shitty?
Oh, well, now I have to edit this out. All right, go hit me with your more hot routes.
All right. I like that. That was a good answer for number 1. Hot route number 2. Which team, over the course, I guess, of the regular season, maybe this last push that we kind of had talked about, surprised you the most? Or that you just had the most fun watching, outside of the Lakers, of course?
Oh, the Warriors.
The Warriors
Easy.
still?
Easy,
Okay.
the Warriors. Yeah, enough said.
That's really
Like,
it.
I've talked about, I've been sucking Steph Curry's dick this whole pod. So, like, that's it, the Warriors.
Because it was a down year for them, right?
It was supposed to be, like, another year of, like, tanking again. You know what I mean? And not to say they tanked last year, but they were without Steph. They were without Clay. And that was going to be the same thing this year. And then look at them now, playing for the 8th spot. Playing for the 7th spot last night. So, yeah, it was the Warriors during the final stretch here.
Definitely. I guess I have one more that doesn't really... I just want to see. Tebow on the Jags.
Oh, good. I'm glad you brought this up. I wanted to bring this up during the draft because I have I have a weird stat about tight ends.
Give me that stat.
Only one rookie tight end ever, and not saying he's a rookie, but only one rookie tight end ever has broke 1,000 yards in his rookie season. It was Mike Ditka.
Sick.
Okay. Anyways, back to Tim Tebow.
Nice. Well, no. I have a very specific question to ask.
Oh, great.
How many catches will Tebow have? Over or under 12.5 for the year?
Under
12.5.
because he's not going to make the roster.
So 0. Perfect.
Yeah, that's under.
That's an easy under.
Under. Yeah, very, very simple. He ain't playing tight. Get the fuck out. Get out of here. All right, that's all the time we have today. Thanks for spending about 45 minutes with us, maybe 50, something like that. We will be back next week. I think we're talking about some more. We're going to follow up on our Marvel series, the MCU we're doing. So, talk to you guys next week. As always, I'm Chris.
I'm Ed.
And this has been Almost Agreeable. Well, what do you know? Another episode down. You can catch all new episodes every week on Thursdays. If you enjoyed the podcast, please like, rate, and subscribe. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Almost Agreeable.